Hey Sora, how was your weekend? Oh, it was great. Thanks for asking. I went hiking with some friends on Saturday, and on Sunday, I just relaxed and caught up on some reading. How about you? Nice. I had a pretty chill weekend too. Just hung out with my girlfriend and watched the movies. So, what did you work on last week? Well, I was mostly working on improving the site's usability. I made some changes to the navigation menu and added some new features to make it easier for users to find what they're looking for. Cool. Sounds like you're making some great progress. As for me, I spent most of last week working on optimizing our database queries. We've been having some performance issues. So, this is really good to have. Yeah, trying to figure out what the bottlenecks are. Oh, that's really interesting. Do you think you've made any progress? Yeah, I think I've identified the problem. It's just a matter of optimizing the queries and making sure we're not using any unnecessary calls. Oh, that's great to hear. I know performance is really important for our users, especially since we have so many of them. Definitely. Speaking of which, I wanted to ask you about the feedback I got from one of our users. They were having some trouble uploading videos, and it seemed like there was, some problems with the front end team. That seems odd. I haven't heard of anything. Did you get any more details? Yeah. I asked them to send me a screenshot of the error message they were seeing. It looks like there's an issue with one of the input fields not being properly validated. Oh, I'll take a look at that today and see if I can figure out what's going on. Thanks, I appreciate it. And while we're on the topic of user feedback, I wanted to bring up something I've been thinking about. I've noticed that some of our pages take a really long time to load, especially for users with really slow internet access. Yeah, that's definitely a problem. What do you think we can do about it? Well, one thing we could try is optimizing our images. I've noticed that some of the really large images can take a really long time to load and slow down the page load times. That's a good point. I'll see if I can compress them without sacrificing too much quality. Great, thanks. And one other thing I wanted to mention is that I've been doing some research into GraphQL. I think it might be a really good tool for some of our API calls. Oh, interesting. I've heard of GraphQL, but I don't really know much about it. Can you explain what it is? Sure. So GraphQL is a query language for APIs that allows clients to request only the data they need. With our current API, we're sending a lot of data that the client might not actually use, which can slow down things. So with GraphQL, we can optimize the requests and make them more efficient. Okay, that seems really useful. Do you think we should implement it? Yeah, I think it's definitely worth considering. I'll put together a proposal and we can discuss it further. Absolutely, Tom. I'm glad we're on the same page. Hey, speaking of pages, did you catch up the new Marvel movie that came out over the weekend? Actually, I haven't had a chance to see it yet. I'm not a big fan of superhero movies, to be honest. Really? I thought everyone was into this stuff these days. Well, I mean, it's definitely popular, but they've just not been my thing. I'd rather watch a good comedy or drama. Fair enough. I do enjoy a good movie, a good superhero movie though, but I also like watching documentaries. Have you seen any good ones lately? Actually, I watched a really interesting one about the history of the internet. It was called, lo and behold, Reveries of the Connected World. Have you heard of it? No, I haven't. What is that? Well, it's basically a series of interviews with people who have been involved in the development of the internet. From its early days to the present. It covers a wide range of topics like the first email ever sent, the birth of social media, and the potential dangers of artificial intelligence. That sounds really interesting. I'll have a look at it. Speaking of artificial intelligence, have you heard about the new chatbot that's passed the Turing test? No, I haven't. What's the Turing test again? Well, it's a test of machine's ability to exhibit intelligent behavior that is indistinguishable from that of a human. This chatbot apparently passed it recently, which is a pretty big deal. Wow, that's pretty impressive. I wonder how far we are from developing truly sentient AI. Yeah, it's hard to say. Some experts predict that we'll have artificial intelligence within the next few decades, while others believe that it might take much longer. It's definitely an exciting and kind of scary prospect at the same time. Absolutely. Well, that's just some of the things that I've been interested in. But hey, have you heard about the new project that the company is working on? No, I haven't. What is it? Apparently, we're developing a new feature that will allow users to create and share their own custom playlists. That sounds really interesting. Do you have any more details about it? Not really, but I heard that it's supposed to be a big focus for the company over the next few months. I'm guessing it's going to be a lot of work for both the front end and the back end teams. Yeah, I can imagine. It's going to be a big undertaking to make sure that the feature is user friendly and scalable. Definitely. I think it's going to be really rewarding to see how our users respond to it. For sure. It's always exciting to see our work make a tangible impact on our users. Speaking of user impact, have you seen any feedback from the recent site updates we made? Yeah, actually, the redesign team seems to be going really well with some of the users, but there are still a few bugs that we need to be ironed out. Yeah, I've been hearing that too. It's always a bit of a balancing act between pushing out new features and making sure that everything is working smoothly. Definitely. I think it's worth it in the end to give the users the best experience possible. Agreed. Well, I think we've covered everything for today's stand-up. Let's keep up the good work and make Pornhub the best it can be. Actually, before we go, there's just one thing I wanted to touch base on regarding the deadlines for the custom playlist feature. Have you heard anything about when it needs to be completed by? Well, actually, I haven't. Or I know the product team is going to be pushing for it to be done as soon as possible. Right. And I think they want to have it for release by the end of next quarter. That's not a lot of time, especially considering all the projects we have on our plates. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a bit of a challenge. But I think we can work together and prioritize our tasks effectively. Then we can get it done in time. Agreed. And I think it's important to communicate with the product team regularly to make sure that we're on the same page about what needs to be done with them. Absolutely. It's always better to be proactive and stay ahead of any potential issues. Exactly. Well, let's get started on our task for the day and keep each other updated on our progress. Sure, that sounds like a plan.